Well, hey everybody. I hope you enjoyed Labor Day. I don't know if you know the history behind Labor Day, but it came to be in the late 1800s that working conditions were so harsh that there was a group of people who protested and rose up basically a protest against the labor laws at that time. It was not uncommon during that time for workers to have a 12-hour day. And then there were no child labor laws, meaning kids and people your age were certainly employed, and there were no laws around how long they could work and etc. And so they were just put in a place where they had to go to work every day. And so on September 5th, 1882, about 10,000 workers got together for a parade in New York City to protest against the working conditions of the time. And then it finally became a federal holiday on June 28th in 1894. So we have our forefathers who protested in favor of better working conditions to thank for the fact that we have a Labor Day today. What I would like you to do this week is to watch the Engaging in Argumentation from Evidence video. The man who creates these videos is Paul Anderson. He is now a Google guru for teachers, and he's created a lot of resources for teachers to use in their classrooms, especially around what we call the next generation science standards. Paul is a friend of mine. He actually lives here in Bozeman. He was a student in the Masters of Science and Science Education program that I worked with at Montana State University. And I've known him for a very long time, but he does some great work around these next generation science standards that I am teaching you, the practices and the cross-cutting concepts that we can begin to use in the instruction in our course. So watch this video and then be sure you're taking notes in your notebook. What things are standing out to you? What is new information to you? What does it mean to argue from evidence? How can you use this in your courses, not only the science class you're taking with me, but in other classes as well? The idea is that we're helping you become independent learners and thinkers, and so it's fine to have an opinion, but an opinion doesn't mean anything other than just the fact you're speaking words unless you can back up what you're saying with evidence. So in our class, we'll always be asking each other, what's the evidence for that statement that you're making? So again, watch this video and take some notes in your notebook. Also, I would like you to find an object that you think is an example of engineering or an example of technology. So it could be everything from a ballpoint pen, that's an engineered device, to maybe a calculator or a computer or some other piece of technology. And I would like you in your notebook to draw a picture of it. I want you to take the pen, for example, and draw a picture. Label the parts and then take it apart if you can. What's inside of a pen that makes it work? For example, here's a different pen. This one will unscrew, and I notice that I've got this cylinder right here that's like a tube. At the end of it is the point of the pen. If I put it on paper, it'll actually leave a mark. There's this spring in here. I wonder what that spring is for. And so I would draw a sketch of each one of these items. I would label them and then begin to think about what is going on here. Like the video that you watched last week, you're asking questions, you're defining solutions, and so ask questions about the pen. And what happens if you don't push this piece down and you try to write? What happens if you push this piece down and now you can write? What happens if you try to write upside down? What happens if this is too cold or too hot? So begin to list questions based on what you are sketching. So that's the assignment, and make sure you take a picture of that, post it in the assignments area on Jupiter Ed by Friday, but also always bring your notebook to class because I will often ask you to share your notebooks with me and with each other when we're back together in class. So enjoy the assignments this week. I'll see you next Monday. Thanks.